Hi everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Growth Tarot. I'm Denise and this reading is for January 13th, 2021, which is falls on a Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. So let's see, what is it that we need to know in order to grow and evolve and to support us along the way? Because goodness knows we are in some challenging times. Okay, so we have the world reversed. Isn't that appropriate for the theme? And of course, it's flanked by the Death Rebirth card. I love this card, actually. I'm kind of weird that way. And then the Strength card. So I think this is a really simple message, honestly. I think that for many of us, we're going to be holding space for all the transformation, all the transformation and transition. And in our strength, we're going to be in the strength of our love and our quest for the truth, our movement, always, straight up. This is movement. I don't really know that we're ever done. I think we go to another level, a higher level as we evolve. And I don't mean higher by out of the body higher. I mean higher by bringing in more love and truth and wisdom. Love and truth are the same, and that opens up your wisdom in your body as a human, as a just, magnificent, normal human being. We don't have to be anything other than that. We don't have to be anything other than who we truly are. So I don't know if we ever finish that. I think it's a continuation, and I know for darn sure you can have a rebirth in the same body, and you don't have to leave the planet and come back and start over and go through, 30 years of trying to grow up or trying to develop enough to take care of yourself, right? We don't need to do that anymore. But it does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of surrender, and it takes a lot of letting go and allowing big change to come in, because of course we know that the and I'll get back to this card. Don't worry, but I feel drawn here first. We know that this card is a lot like out with the old and in with the new. You can see this vast. I just got another hit. This vast infinite openness, and here's the infinity sign here. But I just got this other hit that it means to not identify with what's going on in the world, even though a lot of the world is upside down right now. We're not upside down inside. We're just fine. We're just fine. Go to the place where you're just fine and all is well. And don't identify yourself with the warring, the hatred, the racism, the inequality, and even with the lack of health. Don't identify with it. Even if you're going through COVID right now, don't identify with that. Just look at it as a rebirth, and you're clearing out the old out of your body, because our bodies are always trying to come back to the strength of who we truly are. And in the strength of who we truly are, we have, within the nuclei of every cell in our body, the nucleus, whatever you want to call it, within those, those atoms in our body, protons and atoms, we're constantly firing off. And the firing off, what that firing off is from, where it comes from, is from our spirit. And that's our spirit that's constantly coming through in its strength. And we align with that, and to the degree that we align with that, we become more and more whole, more and more complete. So transformation, transmutation, positive change, big change. This card is never anything to be concerned about unless you have a lot of other challenging cards around it. Like let's say, a person would never, ever, ever predict death on any level, unless we had, let's see, the Four of Swords and the Ten of Swords, possibly the, possibly the Nine of Swords. So we have none of those cards here. This is a death and rebirth on the inner levels, which has everything to do with the beauty of change. Life is change. And there's strength in being able to align with the forces of love that are constantly changing and constantly moving. So just think of this card as bringing you, think of it as a transition, and it's bringing you new possibilities, new ideas, new dreams. And look at it as being, a life that is moving towards more strength and more love. Now, with the World card, let's go back to the reverse meaning here, so I don't forget to to do it. This card, when it's reversed, can just be simply that we're limiting ourselves. It's sometimes a place where we didn't have closure. It's sometimes a place where we're held back a little and there's a delay, and there can sometimes be an incomplete kind of emptiness that happens. Where you just don't feel like you're totally in your strength. But that's because those times happen, those feelings happen, when those real feelings, and there's nothing wrong with feeling everything. In fact, your feelings will set you free. If you go through your emotional reactions, your pure feelings will set you free. So, as long as you're not afraid of change, and as long as you're okay with being in the limbo state for a little bit, and questioning, okay, well, what do I really want to do now? What have I learned from the past, and how do I want to move on? How do I want to expand my life, and especially, my awareness? Because this card is all about the universe, communicating to you and through you. So it's, because it is the last card of the major arcana, and we have all major arcanas today. So, wow. Amazing. So with the world being the last gateway, I don't think it means that we ever end. I'm not positive that, I think on some level there's a place where there's not even really a beginning or an end. I don't know. It's a little bit of a paradox for me when I go there. But anyway, just to stay in our human experience and with what we're here to deal with the world reversed, I think that this is more about people who care about everyone else on the planet, holding space for this transitory nature that's going on, for staying in the love in your heart. Check out she has a heart around her neck there, and the gentleness of the lamb. And notice the infinity symbol up there on her, up on her forearm. So we're dealing with, we have like half lion, half woman. So it's like the courage to be gentle. I just think that's so beautiful. I love the artwork on both of, actually, all these cards. So with the strength card, the way I read it is a little different. Most people just read it as strength and your inner strength, but I feel like I never came into my inner strength until I was able to get in touch with enough of my unconscious, unconsciousness, basically. Wherever I had any lack of awareness, wherever I felt incomplete or insecure, it was because there was something unconscious that was coming up that I needed to heal from my past, from my childhood. And sometimes it comes through, often actually, it also connects with a past life. So when as we're moving towards being fully conscious, what happens is that you bring in more and more of your inner strength, and you can you can withstand these times when you feel a little upside down, if that's what's happening with some of you. With many of us, I think these cards just speak to the place where we're holding space for all these beautiful souls who are leaving the planet, and maybe we're afraid they didn't get to fulfill their life's mission, but maybe that's not the truth. Maybe they were meant to go home and be in the strength of who they are. And of course, in those situations, we grieve for ourselves over the loss of our loved ones, but also, know that they're in a very happy place. There's nothing to fear. And then on another level, this can be those of us who are holding space for the places where the world is going through big, big, big change, and it isn't complete. I don't know if it ever will be. When we're in the levels of like mass consciousness, here on Earth, Earth is a school, of course, and we're all meant to have as many opportunities as we need to incarnate as many times, to come here, be a human as many times as we need in order to grow, in order to, get to that place where we are whole, in order to find our inner strength. So cycles of death and rebirth are nothing more than a path to wholeness, a means to be complete on some level. So I always look at it as, every lifetime can be filled with enough false beliefs that we wanted to heal, and that organizes our reality for the lifetime that we're going to experience. But as we experience it and heal and work through it, then we no longer need to keep leaving our body. We can stay here, and we can literally bring in our next lifetime. We don't have to waste time and leave and come back. We can bring in our next lifetime, and of course it should be an easier lifetime than this one. When you've done that much work and you can reincarnate in your body, you don't have to be afraid of bringing in something challenging. It will be easier than the one, because the one that you're in is always going to be the hardest one, because it's whatever was either avoided or didn't have the opportunity to finish. Somehow it was cut short. So there's never anything to worry about that. On some level, earthly incarnations might always be something that happens to where we're not complete until we all evolve to the place where the earth is 100% bliss and love, like the place from which we were born. I would love to see the earth be that someday. And it should. It should, because we're all evolving. But meanwhile, everyone that's here gets all the opportunities they need in order to grow and heal and evolve and come back to the strength of who they are. So I think that's it. I don't really have anything else to say. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. Thanks, you guys. Take good care. Bye.